One of the main principles of the project was to reorient the museum experience. One of the challenges that we had in the last expansion of the gallery was the offset of the main lobby. In this project, Gehry realized very early on, which supported our initial thoughts and principles about shifting the main lobby back to the centerline axis of the museum. In doing so, what we've been able to create is a direct line from Dundas Street moving south, which unites the Grange, which is the original art gallery of Toronto. As you move from the lobby, upon entry, you come to the serpentine ramp, which is a barrier-free accessibility ramp designed by Frank Gehry, which integrates his vertical grain Douglas fir and takes a fairly simple element within most building lobbies with elevation differences and turns it into an architectural element. Immediately behind the ticketing booths are the scissor staircase, and this is an area where we've thought a lot about and is an attribute of Gehry's design intent and processes, where he introduces a lot of natural light within buildings. That's a very, very common theme, and with museums, Frank feels very strongly about reconnecting people to the city, introducing light as a form of relief from the very intense experience in viewing art. He finds too many museums are too closed off, too many dead ends without windows and the ability to relieve that kind of intense experience that he finds in art. And he's right about it. So the new scissor staircase, which connects from the concourse level to Thompson Ship Model Gallery, connects the main floor and then to the second level where we connect to the Thompson Canadian and the galleries. Over top is an extension of the Walker Court skylight. So this staircase, all clad in vertical grain Douglas fir and white oak floor treads, will be bathed in natural light. In Walker Court, we find the main feature staircase. What this is a new element introduced into the historic space. We've taken the roof off completely. We've replaced the entire roof with skylight now. The other thing that's happened is the arcades that round Walker Court, we've now installed a second level walkway on the east, west, and south sides. At that second level, the main feature staircase originates, and spirals up to the underside of the glass skylight. That element is clad entirely in vertical grain Douglas fir, with, again, white oak treads with a steel superstructure. And as it crosses through the glass skylight and continues up to levels 3, 4, and 5, it is then a totally enclosed sculptural staircase. It's clad in bent glass and stainless steel on the outside, and again on the inside is a combination of drywall, vertical grain Douglas fir, and white oak steps. Levels 4 and 5 are major contemporary gallery spaces. The visitor approach from the south, again, is very, very unique with this building and surprised us, actually. You first see this building from the south down at the Sky Dome at the Gate 3 entry and the John Street Bridge. And what you find is the building marks the top end of the John Street Cultural Corridor. We never realized through the models that we developed that the building would be so prominent, which has been terrific in promoting the building and the architecture of Frank Gehry. The building itself is clad in blue titanium. There's a south staircase that links levels 4 and 5, which we call right now the barnacle staircase. It's a very, very interesting structural element and of very significant architectural importance to the Gehry office in this design. We wanted a staircase that linked levels 4 and 5 only. The easy thing to do would have been simply to cut a hole in the slab and had a staircase that wound up through. Frank surprised us with a staircase that became a major architectural feature. The staircase today cantilevers out past the face of the building by approximately 38 feet. It's fixed at levels 4 and 5 only with no ground support. January 2008, and we're in Gallery Italia, which is our 430-foot long sculptural promenade. In the future, this space will contain various sculptural pieces from the AGO collection, as well as temporary installation pieces on loan. The structure, as you can see, is all constructed of Douglas fir from British Columbia, all laminated with the large primary radials that are wrapped in green plastic. The exterior mullion grid, which is now assembled. In the background you can see the glazing being installed at this time. The exterior tears at the east and west ends, we're now starting. The east tear, the structural steel, is being installed at this time, which will be followed by the timber, and then we'll shift to the west and complete the large west tear. At this point in the project, we're 78% through construction. In the early part of 2005, we started with a series of early works programs that included early foundation, early demolition work. In December of 2005, we awarded Elliston Construction the guaranteed maximum price contract to execute the rest of the project. At the end of March, we'll start turning over large gallery spaces in the South Contemporary Tower. We'll start turning over large gallery spaces in March, April of this year in the Thompson Canadian spaces. There will be a progressional series of these turnovers, which allows for the reinstallation of the collection to then follow. We'll complete the project in its entirety in late summer, early fall of 2008, with the opening of the gallery in the fall of 2008. The project has gone along very, very well with our main partner in the project, our construction manager, Elliston Construction, who have been involved with the program since pre-construction services back in 2003. So they've been a major player and partner in realizing this project. The various major sub-trades on the project, and we took the tack to only have the top-tier trades involved in this kind of complex program. Benson Steel for structural steel, Mariani Metals, who've constructed all the sculptural staircases. They've worked with the Gehry office before. Flynn Canada for all the exterior cladding, Bothwell Accurate for roofing. We've used structural floor systems for all our critical toppings throughout the project that are exposed in particularly contemporary gallery spaces. Cesaroni for all drywalling and plastering. We're using provincial store fixtures for the large millwork contract for wrapping all of the staircases with wood, all the millwork pieces for individual furniture. We've also had geo-foundations for the installation of all the micropiles to bedrock in lieu of caissons. So we've really sought the very best trades in not only GTA but abroad. Animax is a major player in this project. We conducted a worldwide search for glazing, and after the search, Animax, just north of the city, was awarded the contract. This really speaks well about the quality of the Canadian construction industry and the multiple manufacturers and suppliers that we have right in our own backyard. There's tremendous pride on this site amongst all the men and women who have contributed in building this project out, and it goes far beyond the actual creators of the design. The real story in my mind is the various trades who've had to execute. Design does not have much meaning unless you can actually achieve and execute it. We've been very, very successful in doing this on this project and realizing the first Frank Gehry design project in Canada.